The stars shimmered in the vast darkness of space as Admiral Kate Sullivan stood before the giant screen in the command center. She had seen many strange things during her 20 years of service, but nothing like this. The sensor data made no sense at all. Her hands trembled slightly as she read the report for the third time. "Run the scan again," she ordered, turning to the young officer at the control panel. "Yes, Admiral," replied Lieutenant Chris Baker, his fingers dancing across the keyboard. The massive sensor array that protected the Empire's border began another sweep of deep space. This array could detect a grain of sand moving at the edge of their territory. Nothing had ever escaped its notice. The screen flickered, and new data appeared. Admiral Sullivan's eyes widened. There it was again. A ghost signal, something that appeared for a few seconds, then vanished completely. It was like watching a shadow move through the stars. "Get me Commander Morrison," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Tell him it's urgent." Within minutes, Commander Jake Morrison hurried into the command center. He was the Empire's best analyst, known for solving impossible problems. His team had cracked codes from hostile aliens and predicted enemy movements with amazing accuracy. But when he saw the data on the screen, even he looked confused. "What am I looking at?" Jake asked, studying the readings. "We don't know, Admiral," Sullivan admitted. "It started 3 hours ago. Something is out there moving toward Empire space, but it doesn't behave like any ship we've ever seen." Jake moved closer to the screen, his eyes narrowing. The signal appeared again, this time in a completely different location. According to the data, the object had moved thousands of kilometers in less than a second. No known technology could do that. "This is impossible," Jake muttered. "Nothing can move that fast without leaving an energy trail. It's like it just teleported." The command center grew quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. The Galactic Empire controlled over 300 star systems. Their military was the strongest in known space, but now something unknown was approaching their borders, and they had no idea what it was. Admiral Sullivan activated the emergency communication system. Within seconds, faces appeared on smaller screens around the room. General Lisa Carter, looking stern as always. Defense Minister Paul Johnson already frowning. Other high-ranking officers joined the call, each looking more worried than the last. "Ladies and gentlemen," Admiral Sullivan began, "we have a situation. An unidentified object is approaching our space. It moves unlike anything in our databases. We've attempted communication on all frequencies, no response." "Could it be a natural phenomenon?" asked General Carter. "A comet or asteroid with unusual properties?" Commander Morrison shook his head. "The movement patterns suggest intelligence, General. This thing changes direction, speeds up, slows down. It's definitely artificial. Defense?" Minister Johnson leaned forward. "How long until it reaches our border?" Jake tapped his tablet, running quick calculations. "At its current rate, maybe 12 hours. But that's just a guess. We can't predict its movements." The room fell silent again. 12 hours. The Empire had 12 hours to figure out what this ghost ship was and what it wanted. "I'm ordering a full military alert," said General Carter. "All fleet units are to report to defensive positions immediately." Admiral Sullivan nodded. "I'll coordinate with sector commanders. We need ships ready to intercept." As the meeting ended and faces disappeared from the screens, Jake Morrison remained at his post, studying the mysterious signals. His team arrived, one by one, each bringing different expertise. Mary Chen, the physics expert, Tom Wilson, the best programmer in the fleet. They worked together, trying to make sense of the impossible. Hours passed. The ghost ship, as they had started calling it, continued its strange journey toward Empire space. Sometimes it appeared on sensors for minutes at a time. Other times, it vanished completely, only to reappear light years away. "I've never seen anything like this," Mary said, shaking her head. "The energy readings don't match any known propulsion system. It's like the ship exists in multiple places at once." Tom looked up from his computer. "I've been analyzing its path. There's definitely a pattern here. It's not random." The ship is deliberately avoiding our populated systems while mapping our defense grid. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. It's studying us. The implications were terrifying. Something out there had technology far beyond the Empire's understanding, and it was watching them, learning their weaknesses. Admiral Sullivan returned to the command center as the ghost ship drew closer to the border. The Empire's mighty fleet was now in position, thousands of warships ready for battle. But how do you fight something you can barely see? Something that moves like a phantom through space? "Admiral," called out a sensor operator. "The object has changed course. It's heading directly for Outpost 7. Outpost 7 was a remote monitoring station with a small crew. Not strategically important, but still Empire territory. Admiral Sullivan made a quick decision. "Send the fastest ships we have. I want visual confirmation of this thing." 3 interceptors launched from the nearest base, their engines burning bright against the darkness of space. The pilots pushed, their ships to maximum speed, racing toward the mysterious object. As they approached the coordinates, the lead pilot, Captain Amy Foster, activated her long-range cameras. What she saw made her gasp. "Command, this is Red Leader. I have visual. On the target, it's a ship, but not like any design I've ever seen. The hull seems to shimmer and shift. It's hard to focus on, like looking at a mirage." The ghost ship suddenly changed direction, moving away from the interceptors at impossible speed. The Empire's fastest ships couldn't even come close to matching it. "We've lost visual," Captain Foster reported. "The target it's gone, Command. Completely vanished from our screens." Back at the command center, Admiral Sullivan watched as the ghost ship reappeared far from the interceptors. It was playing with them, showing just enough to prove it existed, then disappearing before they could react. Jake Morrison studied the latest data, his face growing pale. "Admiral, I think I understand what's happening. This ship isn't using conventional space travel at all. It's somehow moving between dimensions, phasing in and out of our reality." The Admiral stared at him. "That's science fiction, Commander." "So is a ship that moves like a ghost," Jake replied quietly. As the Empire's leadership struggled to understand this new threat, the ghost ship continued its mysterious journey. It moved through their space like it owned it, ignoring their mightiest warships, slipping past their most advanced defenses. The Galactic Empire, masters of 300 star systems, had finally met something beyond their comprehension, and that terrified them more than any army ever could. The greatest military power in the galaxy was about to learn a hard lesson. They were not alone, and they were definitely not the most advanced civilization in the universe. The ghost ship drew closer to the heart of the Empire, and with it came the dawn of a new age, an age where the old rules no longer applied. An age where empires built on force would face opponents who had mastered the very fabric of space itself. The stars continued to shine in the endless night, but now they seemed to hold new mysteries. Somewhere out there, beyond the reach of the Empire's sensors, more ghost ships might be waiting. The hunt was about to begin. Captain Amy Foster gripped the controls of her interceptor as she led her squadron through the darkness of space. 3 days had passed since her first glimpse of the ghost ship, and now she was leading the Empire's most elite pilots on an impossible mission. Catch something that shouldn't exist. "Red Squadron, stay tight," Amy commanded through her radio. "Remember, this thing can disappear at any moment." Lieutenant Dan Wilson, her second in command, responded quickly. "Copy that, Red Leader. All systems running hot. We're ready for anything." Behind them flew 6 more interceptors, the fastest ships in the Imperial fleet. Among the pilots was Ensign Grace Murphy, fresh from the academy but already showing skills that impressed even veterans like Amy. Grace had volunteered for this mission, eager to prove herself against the unknown threat. The squadron raced through space, following coordinates provided by command. The ghost ship had been spotted near the Chronos system, moving in its strange, unpredictable pattern. Sometimes it appeared on sensors for minutes. Other times it vanished for hours. Back at Imperial Command, Colonel Ryan Edwards studied a massive tactical display. He was the Empire's best strategist, famous for planning battles that seemed impossible to win. But this ghost ship challenged everything he knew about space combat. It's not following any logical pattern, Ryan muttered, tracing the ship's path with his finger. Look here. It jumps from the Chronos system to Vega Prime, then back to our border. The distance between these points would take our fastest ship's days to cover. This thing does it in seconds. Beside him, Intelligence Officer Maya Thompson nodded grimly. I've been analyzing its behavior, Colonel. I think it's mapping our defenses, testing our response times. Every appearance seems calculated to learn something new about us. Ryan turned to face her. But why? If this ship has such advanced technology, why not just attack? Why play these games? Maya pulled up a new display showing the ghost ship's path over the past 72 hours. Maybe it's not interested in attacking. Look at this. It deliberately avoids our populated systems. When our patrols get too close, it retreats. It's like it's studying us without wanting to cause harm. Or it's waiting for the right moment to strike, Ryan countered. Meanwhile, Captain Foster's squadron had reached the Chronos system. The vast emptiness of space stretched before them, dotted with distant stars and the occasional asteroid. According to the latest reports, the ghost ship should be somewhere in this sector. Anything on sensors? Amy asked. Negative, Red Leader, Dan replied. Just background radiation and… Wait, I'm getting something. Bearing 270, distance approximately 50,000 kilometers. Amy adjusted her course, her squadron following in perfect formation. As they approached the coordinates, their instruments began picking up strange readings. The space ahead seemed to shimmer, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. There! Shouted Grace Murphy. I see it. The ghost ship materialized before them, its hull shifting and changing like liquid metal. It was roughly the size of a heavy cruiser, but its design was unlike anything in the Empire's databases. No visible engines, no weapon ports, just smooth curves that seemed to bend light around them. Command, this is Red Leader, Amy reported, her voice tight with excitement. We have visual confirmation. Beginning pursuit. The ghost ship suddenly accelerated, moving at speeds that should have torn any normal vessel apart. Amy pushed her interceptor to its limits, the engine screaming as she tried to keep up. Her squadron spread out, attempting to box in their target. It's too fast, Dan shouted over the radio. We're losing it. But then something unexpected happened. The ghost ship slowed down, almost as if it wanted them to catch up. It began a series of complex maneuvers, loops, spirals, sudden direction changes that no ship should be able to perform. It's showing off, Grace said suddenly. It wants us to see what it can do. Amy realized the young pilot was right. The ghost ship wasn't trying to escape. It was demonstrating its capabilities, like a predator displaying its strength to potential rivals. Back at command, Pilot Steve Baker had been assigned to analyze the sensor data from every encounter. He sat hunched over his computer, replaying footage from multiple angles. Something about the ghost ship's movement patterns nagged at him. Colonel Edwards, Steve called out. I think I've found something. Ryan hurried over, Maya close behind. On Steve's screen was a detailed analysis of the ghost ship's hull. Look at these readings, Steve explained. The hull isn't solid. It's made of some kind of adaptive material that changes shape based on environmental conditions. When it moves, the entire ship reconfigures itself for optimal performance. Maya leaned in closer. That's impossible. The structural stress alone would tear it apart. Not if it's using quantum entanglement at the molecular level, Steve continued. The entire ship might be one giant quantum system, existing in multiple states simultaneously until it chooses which one to manifest. Ryan shook his head. Where does technology like that even come from? In deep space, Amy's squadron continued their pursuit. The ghost ship led them on a chase through 3 star systems, each jump more impossible than the last. It moved through asteroid fields without slowing down, skimmed the surface of stars without burning up, and even passed through a nebula that should have disrupted all its systems. Red Leader, this is Command, came Admiral Sullivan's voice. Break off pursuit, return to base immediately. Amy hesitated. They were so close to learning something important. Command, request permission to continue. We're gathering valuable data. Negative, Red Leader, that's an order. We're implementing a new strategy. Reluctantly, Amy signaled her squadron to turn back. As they changed course, the ghost ship did something extraordinary. It stopped completely, hanging motionless in space. Then slowly it flashed its running lights in a pattern that looked almost like a salute. "Did you see that?" Grace asked, amazement in her voice. "Yeah," Amy replied quietly. "It's acknowledging us." The ghost ship watched them leave, then vanished once more into the cosmic dark. At Imperial Command, Emperor Marcus Thorne himself had arrived to take control of the situation. The most powerful man in the galaxy stood before the tactical display, his advisors gathered around him. "Explain to me," the Emperor said coldly, "how one ship is making fools of my entire fleet." Science Director Ellen Price stepped forward nervously. "Your Majesty, this vessel operates on principles we don't understand. Its technology is decades, maybe centuries ahead of ours." "Then find a way to understand it," the Emperor commanded. "Use every resource at our disposal. I want that ship captured or destroyed." Military strategist John Martinez cleared his throat. "Your Majesty, with respect, perhaps we should consider a different approach. This ship hasn't attacked us. Maybe it's trying to communicate." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "It's violated our space, mapped our defenses, and humiliated our forces. That's all the communication I need." As the Empire's leadership debated their next move, the ghost ship reappeared near a remote research station. Dr. Sam Taylor, the Empire's leading xenobiologist, was working late when the alarm started blaring. "What's happening?" he asked his assistant, Anna Chen. Anna checked the sensors, her face going pale. "It's here, the ghost ship. It's right outside." Sam rushed to the observation window. There it was, hanging in space just a few thousand meters away. As he watched, the ship's hull began to pulse with soft blue light. The pattern was regular, almost hypnotic. "It's trying to communicate," Sam whispered. "Quick, record everything. This might be our chance to understand what it wants." The ghost ship continued its light display for exactly 10 minutes, then vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. But in those 10 minutes, it had transmitted more data than the Empire's entire fleet had gathered in 3 days of pursuit. The chase was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The ghost ship had proven it could go anywhere, do anything, and the Empire couldn't stop it. But now, for the first time, it seemed willing to talk. The question was, did the Empire have the wisdom to listen? Emperor Marcus Thorne sat in his private chamber, staring at the reports scattered across his desk. Each page told the same story. The Empire's greatest military minds had no answer for the ghost ship. His hands clenched into fists as he read about another failed attempt to corner the mysterious vessel. "Bring me Director Price and General Martinez," he commanded his assistant. Within minutes, Science Director Ellen Price and military strategist John Martinez entered the room. Both looked tired, having spent days without proper sleep trying to solve this crisis. "Your Majesty," Ellen began, bowing deeply, "we've made some progress analyzing the data from the research station encounter." "Progress?" The Emperor's voice was sharp. "This ship has been in our space for a week. It goes wherever it wants, appears and disappears at will, and you call this progress?" John Martinez stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we've confirmed the ship is trying to communicate. The light patterns it displayed contain complex mathematical sequences. It's clearly intelligent." "I don't care if it's intelligent," the Emperor snapped. "I care that it's making the Empire look weak. Our enemies are watching. If we can't handle one ship, what message does that send?" Ellen pulled out her tablet, showing new calculations. "Sir, this technology could change everything we know about space travel. If we could understand it, then capture it," the Emperor interrupted. "Use whatever force necessary." Meanwhile, Ambassador Claire Roberts was leading a different kind of effort. In the communications center of the Imperial Palace, she worked with a team of linguists and mathematicians, trying to decode the ghost ship's light patterns. "It's definitely a message," said her chief analyst, Mike Davis. "The mathematical progressions are too perfect to be random. Look here. Prime numbers, then Fibonacci sequences, then something more complex." Claire studied the patterns carefully. Keep working. On it. And broadcast our own mathematical sequences on all frequencies. Maybe we can establish two-way communication. Across the Empire, fear was spreading. News of the ghost ship had leaked to the public, despite the government's attempts to control information. People whispered about an unstoppable alien threat, about technology that defied the laws of physics. Dr. Sam Taylor continued his analysis at the research station. His assistant, Anna Chen, had been working around the clock to understand the data the ghost ship had transmitted. "Dr. Taylor, look at this," Anna called out excitedly. "The ship's movements aren't random at all. It's visiting specific locations, in a precise order." Sam hurried over to her workstation. On the screen was a star map showing every location the ghost ship had appeared. "My God," Sam whispered. "It's following our old exploration routes. The path the Empire took when we first expanded into space." Anna nodded. "It's like it's retracing our history, learning how we grew from a single planet to a galactic power." "But why?" Sam wondered aloud. The answer came sooner than expected. Admiral Frank Cooper, commanding the Empire's most powerful warship, decided to try a new tactic. Instead of chasing the ghost ship, he would try to trap it. "All ships, move. Into position," Frank ordered. His fleet of 50 warships surrounded a neutron star using its immense gravity as part of their trap. "When the ghost ship appears, we'll use the star's gravity well to prevent it from escaping." The plan seemed solid. The ghost ship had been detected approaching this sector, following its mysterious pattern. Frank's ships waited, weapons charged, ready for anything. Then it appeared. The ghost ship materialized exactly where they predicted, right in the center of their formation. For a moment, Frank thought they had succeeded. "All ships activate gravity nets," he commanded. Dozens of tractor beams locked onto the ghost ship, while specialized vessels generated artificial gravity fields to cage it in. The neutron star's natural gravity added to the trap, creating a prison that nothing should be able to escape. The ghost ship hung motionless for several seconds. Then, to everyone's horror, it began to move. Not away from the neutron star, but toward it. "It's heading into the gravity well," shouted Frank's sensor officer. "Sir, nothing can survive that." But the ghost ship didn't just survive, it accelerated. It dove straight into the neutron star's crushing gravity field, where the force should have torn it apart instantly. Instead, it passed through like the star wasn't even there, emerging on the other side completely unharmed. The Imperial fleet watched in stunned silence as the ghost ship performed a slow loop around the neutron star, as if showing off. Then it vanished again, leaving Frank's trap empty and his confidence shattered. News of this failure reached the Emperor within hours. His rage was terrible to behold. 50 ships, he roared. "The best technology we have, and it flies through a neutron star like it's empty space." His advisors stood in silence, afraid to speak. Finally, Ellen Price found her courage. "Your Majesty, this proves what we've been saying. This technology is beyond anything we can fight with conventional weapons. We need to try diplomacy." The Emperor turned to her, his eyes cold. "You want to negotiate with this thing?" "It hasn't hurt anyone," Ellen pointed out. "Despite having technology that could destroy us, it's shown remarkable restraint. That suggests intelligence and possibly peaceful intentions." John Martinez supported her. "Your Majesty, our military options have failed. Perhaps it's time for a different approach." But the Emperor wasn't ready to give up. "Double our efforts. I want every scientist working on this, every ship hunting it, every weapon prepared." As the Empire mobilized for total war, the ghost ship appeared in an unexpected location, right above the Imperial capital. Millions of citizens looked up in terror as the mysterious vessel hung in the sky, its shifting hull reflecting the city lights below. Panic erupted in the streets. People fled to shelters convinced an attack was imminent. The planetary defense systems activated, targeting the ghost ship with enough firepower to destroy a moon. But the ship just hung there, making no aggressive moves. Then, slowly, it began to project images into the sky. Not weapon fire or threats, but pictures, star maps, mathematical equations and symbols that looked almost like art. Ambassador Claire Roberts watched from her office window, her heart racing. "It's not attacking," she said to her team. "It's trying to teach us something." The display continued for an hour, visible to everyone in the capital. The ghost ship showed images of different star systems, different technologies, different ways of traveling through space. It was like a presentation, a lesson for a species that thought it knew everything. Dr. Sam Taylor, watching through a telescope from his research station, suddenly understood. "It's showing us we're not alone," he said to Anna. "And we're not the most advanced. It's trying to humble us without hurting us." The ghost ship's display ended with a single image, a blue and green planet, small and beautiful, hanging in the darkness of space. Earth, though the Empire didn't know it yet. Then the ship rose higher into the atmosphere and vanished once more, leaving behind a changed empire. The citizens had seen something that challenged everything they believed about their place in the universe. In his palace, Emperor Thorn stood at his window, looking at the empty sky where the ghost ship had been. For the first time, doubt crept into his mind. What if they couldn't win this fight? What if fighting was the wrong choice altogether? His communicator buzzed. It was Admiral Sullivan, her voice tense. "Your Majesty, we've detected more ghost ships. 3 of them, approaching from different directions." The Emperor closed his eyes. The game had changed. One ghost ship had brought the Empire to its knees. Now there were more. "Your Majesty?" Admiral Sullivan's voice came again. "Your orders?" Emperor Thorn remained silent, staring at the stars. Everything he had built, everything the Empire had achieved through force and conquest, suddenly seemed very small. The age of the Empire's dominance was ending. Something new was beginning. And for the first time in his life, Marcus Thorn felt afraid. The ghost ship stopped moving. After weeks of appearing and disappearing across the Empire, it suddenly powered down its stealth systems in an empty star system. It just hung there in space, visible to everyone, waiting. Captain Ben Rodriguez received the call at dawn. As the Empire's most experienced first contact specialist, he had met dozens of alien species. But this was different. This time, the aliens had technology that made the Empire look primitive. "The ship wants to talk," Admiral Sullivan explained during the briefing. "It's transmitting a clear invitation. You'll lead the contact team." Ben nodded, studying the data on his screen. "Who's on my team?" "Karen White, our best translator. Tony Garcia for security. Both have experience with unknown species." Ben looked up. "Just 3 of us?" The ghost ship specified a small team. "It's transmitting coordinates for a docking bay. Apparently it wants to meet face to face." Within hours, Ben's shuttle approached the ghost ship. Up close, it was even more impressive. The hull seemed to breathe, shifting and flowing like liquid metal. As they drew near, a section of the hull simply opened, revealing a brightly lit docking bay. No visible door mechanisms, Karen observed. The hull just changed shape. Tony checked his weapons, though he knew they would be useless against technology this advanced. "Stay alert. We don't know what we're walking into." The shuttle landed smoothly in the bay. As the team stepped out, they found themselves in a clean, well-lit corridor. The walls glowed with soft light, and the air smelled fresh and clean. Everything looked surprisingly normal, almost familiar. "Hello," said a voice in perfect Imperial standard. "Please follow the lights." Blue lights appeared on the floor, creating a path deeper into the ship. Ben led his team forward, every sense alert. The corridor opened into a large room with comfortable chairs and a table. Standing there was a human. Ben stopped in shock. The figure looked completely human. Average height, brown hair, wearing a simple gray uniform. He smiled warmly at the team. "Please sit down," the man said. "I'm Commander Alex Turner of the Earthship Quantum Pioneer. We have a lot to discuss." "Earth?" Karen whispered. "The primitive planet in Sector 7? Alex's smile widened. "Not so primitive anymore. Coffee? Tea? We've been monitoring your broadcasts," So we stocked your favorite drinks. Ben sat down slowly, his mind racing. You're human. From Earth. But that's impossible. Our surveys showed Earth had barely reached their own moon. That was 50 years ago, Alex explained, pouring coffee for the team. A lot can change in 50 years. While your empire was conquering systems through force, we took a different path. Tony leaned forward. The ghost ships are from Earth? Ghost ships, Alex chuckled. I like that name. Yes, this is a human vessel. We developed quantum phase technology about 20 years ago. It lets us move through space in ways your physics hasn't discovered yet. A door opened and a woman entered. She wore a white lab coat and carried a tablet. This is Dr. Michelle Brown, our science officer, Alex introduced. She can explain the technical details better than I can. Michelle smiled and activated a holographic display. Your empire uses brute force solutions, massive engines, overwhelming firepower. We studied quantum mechanics and found elegant alternatives. Our ships don't push through space. We step around it. The hologram showed a ship disappearing and reappearing. We exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously, then collapse the wave function where we want to be. To your sensors, it looks like teleportation. Ben shook his head. But why all the games? Why map our defenses, study our fleet movements? Alex's expression grew serious. Because we've been watching your empire expand through military conquest. You've subjugated dozens of species, forced them into your system. We needed to know if you were a threat to Earth and our allies. Allies? Karen asked. Earth isn't alone, Michelle explained. We've been quietly contacting other species, the ones your empire considers primitive. We share technology, knowledge, hope. Many species are far more advanced than you think. They just develop differently. Tony stood up, alarmed. You're building an alliance against the Empire? Not against, Alex corrected. We're building an alternative, a community based on cooperation, not conquest. We don't want war with your Empire. That's why we've been so careful not to hurt anyone during our reconnaissance. Ben studied the humans carefully. They seemed sincere, even friendly. But their technology was terrifying. What do you want from us? Alex leaned back in his chair. We want the Empire to change. Stop the conquests. Free the species you've subjugated. Join the galactic community as equals, not conquerors. The Emperor will never agree to that, Ben said flatly. He might once he understands the situation, Michelle replied. She touched her tablet and the hologram changed. It now showed dozens of ships all using the same quantum phase technology. Earth has been busy. We've built a fleet and we've shared our technology with our allies. The age of military empires is ending. Karen gasped. You're threatening us? We're offering you a choice, Alex said gently. Change peacefully or face a galaxy where your military advantages no longer exist. We don't want to fight you. We want to welcome you into a better future. The room fell silent. Ben understood the implications. The Empire's entire power structure was based on military superiority. Take that away, and everything would change. I need to report this to my superiors, Ben said finally. Of course, Alex nodded. In fact, we've prepared a message for your Emperor. We're also broadcasting it to every inhabited world in the Empire. It's time for your citizens to know the truth. Another door opened, and a young officer entered. Captain Turner, we're ready for the demonstration. Alex stood up. Would you like to see what Earth has been building? It might help your Emperor understand why change is necessary. The team followed Alex to what looked like a bridge. The main screen showed empty space, then suddenly filled with ships. Dozens of them, all phasing into existence at once. The vessels were elegant and streamlined, nothing like the Empire's bulky warships. 52 quantum-capable ships, Alex announced, crewed by humans and our allies. And this is just one fleet. We have others stationed around the galaxy. Ben felt his throat go dry. The Empire's greatest fleet would be helpless against ships that could disappear and reappear at will. You could destroy us. We could, Alex agreed, but we won't. Violence is the old way, the Empire's way. We offer something better: partnership, shared knowledge, mutual growth. Michelle added more data to the display. Your empire controls 300 systems through force. Our alliance connects over 1,000 systems through cooperation. Which sounds stronger to you? The quantum fleet began to move, performing impossible maneuvers in perfect synchronization. They phased in and out of reality, creating patterns that defied physics. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "This is the message we're sending to your emperor," Alex said. He pressed a button and a new voice filled the room. Calm, diplomatic, but firm. "To the Galactic Empire and its citizens, we are humanity, and we come in peace. For too long, the galaxy has been ruled by force and fear. We offer an alternative: cooperation, shared advancement, and mutual respect. The Empire must choose: abandon your path of conquest and join us as equals, or continue alone in a galaxy that has moved beyond you. The choice is yours, but the old ways are ending. A new age has begun." Ben watched the quantum fleet disappear one by one, vanishing back into whatever dimension they inhabited. Only the quantum pioneer remained, still waiting patiently in empty space. "Take this message to your emperor," Alex said, handing Ben a data crystal. "It contains our full proposal, technical data about quantum physics, and proof of our peaceful intentions. We'll wait here for your answer." As Ben's team prepared to leave, Karen asked one last question. "Why Earth? Why did humans develop this technology when we couldn't?" Michelle smiled sadly. "Because we had to. We saw the Empire coming, saw what you did to other species. We knew that when you reached Earth, we'd have two choices: submit or surpass. We chose to surpass." The shuttle ride back to the Empire was quiet. Ben held the data crystal tightly, knowing it contained information that would shake the Empire to its core. Humanity hadn't just caught up to the Empire. They had leapfrogged past it entirely, and now the Empire faced its own choice: change or be left behind. The ghost ships weren't ghosts at all. They were messengers of a new age, an age where Earth, the dismissed primitive planet, had become the galaxy's most advanced civilization. The confrontation was over. Now came the hard part: convincing an emperor built on conquest to embrace peace. The data crystal sat on Emperor Marcus Thorne's desk like a bomb waiting to explode. He had watched the message from humanity 3 times, each viewing making him angrier. Around him, his advisors waited in tense silence. They dare to threaten the Empire? The Emperor finally spoke, his voice low and dangerous. General Robert Lee cleared his throat. "Your Majesty, they're not exactly threatening us. They're offering us a choice." "A choice?" The Emperor stood up, his face red with rage. "Join them or be left behind." "That's not a choice, that's an ultimatum." Science Director Ellen Price stepped forward carefully. "Sir, the technical data they provided is remarkable. If we could learn this quantum technology—" "I don't want their technology," the Emperor shouted. "I want them to bow before the Empire like everyone else." But even as he spoke, reports were flooding in from across the Empire. The message from humanity had reached every inhabited world, broadcasted on all frequencies. Citizens who had lived in fear were suddenly learning that the mighty Empire could be challenged. On the planet Vega 3, a species that had been conquered 50 years ago watched the human message with growing hope. On Centauri Prime, factory workers who built weapons for the Empire stopped working to discuss this new development. Everywhere, people were talking about Earth and its quantum ships. Diplomat Peter Anderson entered the throne room with urgent, "Choice, Your Majesty. We're receiving communications from 12 of our subject worlds. They're asking about the human offer. Some are demanding to know why we haven't responded." The Emperor turned to face him. "Demanding? They dare make demands?" "Sir," Peter continued carefully, "the situation is becoming unstable. If we don't respond soon, we might face rebellions across the Empire." Meanwhile, the human ship Quantum Pioneer remained in the empty star system, waiting patiently. But it wasn't alone anymore. More quantum ships had arrived, creating a small fleet. They made no aggressive moves, simply waited for the Empire's answer. Captain Amy Foster watched them from her interceptor. She had been assigned to monitor the human fleet, though everyone knew her weapons were useless against their technology. "They're just sitting there," her co-pilot Dan Wilson observed. "No shields up, no weapons charged. It's like they're not even worried about us." Amy nodded thoughtfully. "They know we can't hurt them. But look at what they're doing. Their ships are arranged in a diplomatic formation. It's a gesture of peace." Back on the capital world, crowds had gathered in the streets. The news of humanity's message had spread like wildfire. Some citizens supported the Emperor, calling for war against these upstart humans. But many others, especially those from conquered worlds, saw hope for the first time in generations. Dr. Sam Taylor appeared on the public broadcast networks, sharing his analysis of the human technology. "This isn't just about military power," he explained to millions of viewers. "The humans are offering to share technology that could revolutionize space travel, communication, medicine, everything. But only if we abandon our path of conquest." His words carried weight. Sam was respected across the Empire for his scientific work. When he spoke in favor of considering the human offer, people listened. In the Imperial Palace, the debate continued. Military leaders wanted to fight, even knowing they would probably lose. Diplomats urged negotiation. Scientists begged for the chance to learn quantum technology. Finally, Ambassador Claire Roberts spoke up. "Your Majesty, may I suggest something?" The Emperor glared at her but nodded. "Let's send a delegation to meet with the humans properly. Not just a contact team, but real negotiators. Let's hear their full proposal before we decide." "And show weakness?" General Lee protested. "Show wisdom," Claire countered. "The humans have demonstrated they could destroy us if they wanted. Instead, they're talking. That tells us they prefer peace. Shouldn't we at least listen?" The Emperor sat in silence for long minutes. His entire life had been built on the principle of imperial strength, the idea of negotiating with those who should be. Subjects went against everything he believed, but the reports kept coming. Unrest on the outer worlds. Quantum ships appearing near major imperial bases, not attacking but simply observing. And the constant broadcasts, reaching every citizen, showing a different path forward. "Fine," the Emperor said at last. "Send your delegation. But make it clear, we negotiate from a position of strength." Claire bowed, hiding her relief. "Of course, Your Majesty." 3 days later, a formal imperial delegation arrived at the human fleet. Led by diplomat Peter Anderson, it included military observers, scientists, and cultural experts. They were welcomed aboard a ship called the USS Harmony. The meeting room was filled with representatives from many species, not just humans, but dozens of aliens the Empire had dismissed as primitive. They sat as equals around a large circular table. Captain Sarah Murphy, representing Earth's diplomatic corps, stood to greet them. "Welcome. We're glad you've chosen to talk." Peter looked around the room, recognizing species the Empire had tried to conquer. "You've united them all?" "United is the wrong word," Sarah smiled. "We've given them options. Technology to defend themselves, knowledge to advance at their own pace, the freedom to choose their own paths." The negotiations lasted for days. The humans and their allies laid out their vision, a galaxy where species cooperated instead of conquered, where technology was shared for the benefit of all, where differences were celebrated, not crushed. They showed what they had built in just 50 years. Medical advances that had eliminated disease, energy systems that provided unlimited power, transportation networks that connected worlds without depleting resources. "This is what's possible when we work together," explained James Parker, Earth's senior ambassador. "Your empire achieved great things through force. Imagine what we could achieve through cooperation." The imperial delegation was stunned. Everything they saw challenged their basic assumptions about power and progress. The primitive species around the table spoke of advances the Empire hadn't even imagined. But the real shock came when the humans revealed the full extent of their alliance. Holographic displays showed thousands of worlds, all connected through quantum communication networks. species the Empire had never even discovered, all working together. We call it the Quantum Commonwealth, James explained. Not an empire ruled from above, but a community of equals, and we're inviting you to join. Back on the Imperial capital, Emperor Thorn received regular updates from the negotiations. Each report made it clearer: the age of military empires was truly ending. Humanity hadn't just surpassed the Empire technologically, they had created a better system entirely. The turning point came when rebel movement started on 3 Imperial worlds simultaneously. Inspired by the human message, subjected species demanded freedom. The Empire's military, spread thin across 300 systems, couldn't respond effectively. General Lee delivered the harsh truth to the Emperor. Sir, without our technological advantage, we can't maintain control. The quantum ships can appear anywhere, support any rebellion. We're facing either endless war against superior technology or surrender, the Emperor finished bitterly. Or transformation, Ellen Price suggested gently. We could become something better. The final negotiations took place on Earth itself. Emperor Thorn, in a moment that shocked the galaxy, traveled to the planet his empire had dismissed as primitive. He stood in the United Nations building, looking at the blue and green world through massive windows. President Henry Mitchell of Earth greeted him with respect, not as a conquered enemy but as a fellow leader ready to build a better future. Your empire achieved remarkable things, Henry said. That drive, that ambition. Imagine directing it toward exploration and cooperation instead of conquest. The treaty was signed in a ceremony broadcast across the galaxy. The Galactic Empire agreed to free its subjected worlds, share its resources, and join the Quantum Commonwealth as an equal member. In return, humanity and its allies would share quantum technology and help rebuild relationships damaged by centuries of conquest. Colonel Lisa Park, now assigned to oversee the transition, watched as the first quantum drives were installed in Imperial ships. It's remarkable, she told her assistant Kyle Morgan. We spent so long believing might makes right. The humans proved that innovation and cooperation are the true strengths. Across the galaxy, celebrations erupted. Conquered species regained their freedom. Trade routes opened between systems that had been enemies. Scientists from dozens of worlds began working together on projects that would benefit everyone. The ghost ship, the USS Phantom, made one final appearance over the Imperial capital. This time, when it projected images into the sky, they showed not warnings but welcomes. Images of humans and aliens working together, of worlds rebuilt, of a future bright with possibility. As the Phantom disappeared into quantum space for the last time, many realized it had never been a warship. It had been a teacher, showing the Empire that there were other ways to achieve greatness. The transformation wasn't easy or quick. Many in the Empire resisted change. Some systems tried to maintain the old ways, but the momentum was unstoppable. The galaxy had seen a better path and there was no going back. Years later, historians would mark this as the true beginning of galactic civilization. Not the rise of empires through conquest, but the moment when a small blue planet proved that the greatest power isn't in weapons or warships, but in the simple idea that we can be better together than we are apart. The ghost ship had started as a mystery and ended as a symbol, a reminder that sometimes the most advanced civilizations are those that choose progress over power, cooperation over conquest, and hope over fear. The galaxy had changed forever, and it all started with one ship that moved like a ghost carrying a message of transformation from Earth to the stars.